Okay, hello. Happy weekend mga ka-awesome. Hello sa inyo. Magandang gabi mga ka-ABC. Ito na naman tayo sa another episode of Daily Hours, yung reading, reflecting, and responding natin every night. No, ito yung oras natin para magmuni-muni, mag-reflect, pwede sa buong araw or from our reading tonight. Actually, patapos na rin natin. We are reading Ecclesiastes chapter 12 tonight. And this is how we stay healthy and how we stay awesome by doing this, no? Our reflection, our devotional, we call it sometimes. And we dedicate an hour or so of our day to stop and rethink and refocus, recharge our spirit, our soul, by doing this, no? Reconnecting with God. Some do prayers, some do Bible study, and that's what we're going to do tonight. Di siya super Bible study. Ano lang tayo dito? Discussion, conversation, light conversation about what we read every single night. And like I said, we are reading from the book of Ecclesiastes. We are reading the last chapter. Yes, last chapter of this book. And it's been a lot of realizations, no, from this book, from the writings of Solomon. And tonight, we're going to read the ano ba talagang gustong sabihin ni Solomon? Kasi paulit-ulit, sometimes in positive note, sometimes may parang negative tono. Pero tonight, we're going to see, yun palang point ni Solomon on why he wrote this book. Ayan, so, lapit, no? And we're going to read that tonight. And ang kasama ko dito sa stream, of course, my co-host, si Ate Leia. Ayan. Hello, Ate Leia. How's your Friday? Friday pa ba dyan?
Yes, it's still Friday, ayan. Kaso mamayang konti, ano na yan, Saturday. Ayan. So, yeah, I'm good naman. It's been a smooth week, no? So, it's good. And, yeah, patapos na pala tayo sa book of Ecclesiastes. And that's quite good, no? Ang dami na nating lessons na natutunan sa mga past chapters, and here we are, the last chapter. So, yeah, I also invite everyone to drop your insights later. Ayan, so, good evening pala, nakalimutan ko. Good evening, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon sa mga nasa team replay. Ayan. So, yeah, let's go.
Ayun, awesome. Thank you rin sa pabati, Ate Leia. Nakalimutan ko rin banggitin sa mga team replay natin, kung anong oras nyo man papanoorin to. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Yan. And sa mga nandito ngayon, good evening sa inyong lahat. And nagko-comment na rin sila. Dito na ulit si Kuya Arnel. Hello, Kuya Arnel. Long time no hear. Hope you're good. Blessed evening din sa inyo. And of course, si Kuya Jesse. Alright, awesome and blessed evening everybody, everyone. And yung kanyang mga emojis nandiyan din syempre. And of course, my dad is here. Good evening, Dad. And he greets everyone good evening as well. Kuya Jerry, a peaceful and blessed evening to all. Mismo, thank you for this, Kuya Jerry, and peaceful and blessed evening to you as well, Kuya. Ayan, I'm Team Replay and sometimes Team Live. Parang may mga challenge ata ngayon sa sa connection. No problem, as long as you tune in. And pinaka-importante naman dito is yung reflection. That's why we do this every day. We are helping each other reflect, reconnect, mga ganyan. So, awesome. Thank you, Kuya Arnel, for still tuning in kahit team replay. Ayos pa rin yan. Awesome pa rin yan. Yan. So, sila pa lang nagko-comment and konti pa rin lang yung mga nakakapasok. So, while we wait, like I said, we are about to finish the book of Ecclesiastes. And last night, recap natin yung last night. Talks about investing in life. Sa ibang version, it's entitled Invest in Many Ventures. Parang ganun. So, basically, the whole gist of it is that a lot of realizations coming from the past chapters about uncertainties, about the sureness of death to everyone. Na we all have that ending. Lahat tayo mamamatay. So, on how the author is setting the paano ba, sineset niya yung tono nung gusto niyang sabihin is that we're all gonna die, everything's meaningless, mga ganun. But we have but it's not that bad. It's not wrong, ganun. So we are still, it's best for us to enjoy because we have a short life, blah, 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 ganyan, ganyan. And then yung pinaka matunog na sinulat niya is about in everything that we experience, all the uncertainties, with all the meaninglessness under the sun, still all these things that we enjoy, it comes from the Lord. So in all our ways, let's acknowledge Him. Ganyan, no? So he also encourages everyone to yun talaga enjoy life. Na even if it's meaningless, it's short-lived, mga ganyan, because we're all gonna die. Doesn't mean that we just live a sad, depressed, meaningless lives. Diba? Hindi pa rin. And mas may emphasize pa yun tonight. And last night, about investing in life, yung first, saan yung kodi ko? Yung first 5 verses, no? It talks about the uncertainty. Ito na naman yung uncertainty of things na hindi tayo sure anong mangyayari because it's only God who truly knows what's gonna happen because He is the maker of everything. But that doesn't mean that we should stop and stop living. Na wala, hindi ko alam anong mangyayari. So, wala na akong gagawin. Hihintayin ko na lang yung ending. That's why it started with the first verses, no? Send your bread on the surface of the water. For after many days, you may find it. In NIV, iba yung translation niya. It says here, ship your grain across the sea. After many days, you may receive a return. So it's like business kind of yung sinasabi niya. So just invest, do something, try to earn a profit. Parang ganyan. Don't just sit and wait because dito naman sa baba may nakalagay dito na whoever watches the wind, parang ganun eh. Saan ba yun? Kumbaga pag tumunganga ka, nothing will happen to you. So just continue to live, continue to take advantage of everything life has to offer. Because though yes, there's uncertainty, but that doesn't mean that we're always going to fail, and that doesn't mean that everything's not worth living for. Because we are here anyway, so make the most out of life. So invest in life, and also, naka-emphasize din sa verse 5, diba, that it's only God who truly knows the ending of all things, how everything's gonna turn out, and that is God, a good God. So yes, it is uncertain, no? Pero, yung certainty, ang may hawak nun, ang Diyos. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? That certainty must be good. Diba? It's always gonna turn out good because it's with God. So, just have that confidence, have that trust, have that faith to do good things, of course. Wag na naman sanang bad things ang pinag-i-investan natin. Do everything under the wisdom of God, and everything's gonna turn out good. And then, that's from the first verses, and then verse 7 onwards, he again emphasizes on death, no? Na sabi niya dito, light is sweet, and it pleases the eyes to see the sun. However many years anyone may live, let them enjoy them all. So just enjoy life. But sabi naman niya sa verse 8, let them remember the days of darkness, for there will be many. Everything to come is meaningless. So this life is it's let's enjoy life, diba? So, delight your, sabi parang dito, diba? It pleases the eyes to see the sun, because everyone, we wait for the sun, don't we? For the sunrise, for the sunset. It's fun in the morning, mga ganyan. So just enjoy. But his firm reminder is that let us remind ourselves as well of the darkness, of what is to come. That this life is short, eternal is long. It's forever. That's why eternal. The life after this life is long. So we also have to remind ourselves that darating tayo dun. So whatever we are enjoying now, it should also contribute to that. Ano ibig sabihin na naman yun? That let us enjoy responsibly, which is a sharing from last night as well. We can enjoy all things. We can be merry. Diba? We can be happy. We can, just celebrate. Pero kasi meron yung wholesome celebration, meron naman yung celebration in sin. So, as Christians, as believers, as people who thinks about the life after this life, let's enjoy life that would also not compromise our life after this life, because we know that that's gonna happen, right? There's an afterlife. Yeah. And then verses 9 onwards, about being a youth, or while hindi lang siya related to being young din kasi, as long as you have that strength of a youth, yun yung parang pagkaka-absorb ko nito. As long as you have that strength, that eagerness, that aggressiveness to to enjoy life, to make the most out of life. Parang ganoon yung nakikita ko pag youth na sinasabi dito. Enjoy everything that you can. While we can, yun din sinasabi niya. Because like emphasized earlier, everything's gonna end. And nandito mas na-emphasize lalo yung everything that we do while we are enjoying God's creation, while we are enjoying God's blessings, lahat on how we respond to these things, meron silang impact on what's gonna happen to us when we're dead. Because sabi niya dito sa verse 9, no? God will bring you into judgment, but with the things, follow the ways of your heart and whatever your eyes see, but know that for all these things, God will bring you into judgment. So on however we respond to the things that we enjoy here on earth while we are alive, we are to answer to them in front of God on the judgment day. So we also have yun nga, takeaway din siya last night, enjoy responsibly. So alam din naman natin yun because there's wisdom. It has been given to us. So just follow that wisdom that comes from God, then we're gonna be okay. Right? Yeah. So talks about really getting the most out of life that life has to offer, the blessings we receive each day, but we do them with under God's standards and responsibly. Enjoy responsibly. Yun yung pinaka parang takeaway last night. And tonight we're going to read chapter 12, which is talks about seek God in early life, and then the whole duty of man, or the conclusion of the matter, which is the most popular or well-known title of the last part of Ecclesiastes, the conclusion of the matter. And we're going to read and talk about that tonight. Ayun. So mga ka-awesome, if you are ready, sana you have your Bibles with you so you can read with us and type awesome na din. So we know that you are ready and awesome and ready to read. Batiin ko lang yung mabol, nandito na rin pala si Mother Dear. Good evening, Ma. Good evening, awesome believers, sabi niya Ed. Of course, si Kuya Arnel. Power tagger natin. Thank you, Kuya Arnel. Walang pagod. Yun. Ayan, nag-ready na sila. Anong ready? Awesome! Hindi ready. Ayun, dito na rin si Ate Casimir. Good evening, Ate Casimir. Nag-awesome na rin siya. So, let's go. Yun, so, let's go, Ate Leia. Of course, I have volunteered myself to read the verses. It's quite short. Super meaningful though. So, here it is, mga ka-awesome. Read with me, chapter 12. Ayan. It reads, remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come and the years approach when you will say, I find no pleasure in them. Before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars grow dark and the clouds return after their rain. When the keepers of the house tremble and the strong men stoop. When the grinders cease because they are few and those looking through the windows grow dim. When the doors to the street are closed and the sound of grinding fades. When people rise up at the sound of birds, but all their songs grow faint. When people are afraid of heights and of dangers in the streets. When the almond tree blossoms and the grasshopper drags itself along, and desire no longer is stirred. Then people go to their eternal home, and mourners go about the streets. Remember him before the silver cord is severed, and the golden bowl is broken, before the pitcher is shattered at the spring, and the wheel broken at the well, and the dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Everything is meaningless. The conclusion of the matter, not only was the teacher wise, but he also imparted knowledge to the people. He pondered and searched out and set in order many proverbs. The teacher searched to find just the right words, and what he wrote was upright and true. The words of the wise are like golds, their collective sayings like firmly embedded nails given by one shepherd. Be warned, my son, of anything in addition to them. Of making many books there is no end, and much study wearies the body. Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. Ayan. That is our reading for tonight, mga ka-awesome. 14 verses, super strong verses. So, looking forward to your insights or comments. What do you think of the reading? Comment it down. Basahin natin yan maya-maya. Siyempre, si Ate Lea muna mag-share sa kanyang mga realizations sa reading natin tonight. Ate Lea, what do you think of the reading?
Alright, so my first insight will be on verse 1. Ayan. So, in this chapter, after pointing out the meaninglessness of life under the sun or the life of this world, here is now the conclusion, the closing part. He started in verse 1 with an exhortation to the young people. Ayan, an exhortation to consider God every day before the day of age comes, as he said in verse 1, to remember our Creator in the days of our youth. And by saying, remember your Creator, he is reminding us that God is our Creator, which we certainly know, but that's not just it. It's a reminder that we have to guard ourselves from all the wickedness that arises from all those meaninglessness of life here on earth, that in everything we do, we should be in line with the will of God, our Creator. So Solomon encouraged us to remember our Creator in the days of our youth, because he knew that this is the crucial stage of life. This is the stage when people are susceptible to worldly pleasures, to temptations. And as we can see and observe from around us, there are a lot of young people who indulge in fleshly desires. Like, for example, a lot of young people are choosing parties over church. So where there is fleshly pleasure, that's where they often choose to be. Ayan. So that is why Solomon is reminding us to guard ourselves from being in submission to the vanities of life. Ayan. So that when we are old, we will not be buried with regrets of not giving importance to God, of not giving the value to the important matter, and that is God in the eternal life after this life on earth. Yeah. So with his experience, he really pointed out that living a life without God or doing the things that are of this world makes life as good as nothing or meaningless. And we have to learn from his experience. Sabi nga na it is good to learn from our own mistakes, but then learning from others' experience is much better. Ayan. So this is what Solomon wanted us to do. It's for us to learn from his experiences and know the value of remembering our Creator and the value of the next life to come. Ayan. So that's my insight for verse 1. I will be adding later for the next verses. Ayan. So thank you.
Thank you, Ate Leia, which is true, yung about the youth. This is where lagi itong na-emphasize din for tayo mga youth, lalo sa mga camps, lalo pag yung nag-preach is much older than us, diba? Lagi nilang sinasabi na habang bata kayo, ganyan-ganyan, be aggressive and serving in the youth, in the church, in fellowship, in gatherings, mga ganyan. Because this is where we are most, it is true, susceptible to sin, because this is the time where we are more curious about things. We want to know, we want to experience. So could you imagine if we do not operate under God's standards? Wala, we can easily be swayed or tempted by the world. So it's such a great thing that we have is youth groups, youth camps, because it keeps the young ones together and keeps them in under one roof, one standard. Also, they're looking out for each other. There's accountability. Yun. So that's very important. And to me, how I got this din naman is that youth, like how I shared it earlier, it's not just me being young, but having that energy of a youth, because dinagdag niya eh. Until that day, you will say, I find no pleasure in them. Yung parang, pagod na ako. Ganon, no? So, as long as you have that fire in your heart to serve, I think that is still under youth. You still have that energy of a youth. So, as long as we have that eagerness, let's continue to remember our Creator, think about Him in all our ways, acknowledge Him in all our ways. And by doing so, we are always guided. Diba? And we always emphasize on that as well. But though our emphasis is about youth, I don't think it should stop there. Na even if we're no longer youthful in spirit and in vigor, let's continue to remember our Creator pa rin. But I guess I believe that Solomon, the author, is just emphasizing on this one because he chose this particular population or this age, itong point sa buhay natin where we are more eager, because he is also telling people na enjoy life, diba? Be joyful, experience God's creation. And most often is that it's the youthful ones are the ones doing that, and he is guiding them, which is a good thing about this, no? It's a good on him for doing that. So for us who's listening now, we are still eager, I bet. So this is a great reminder for us now. Whatever venture, diba, we choose to attack while we are alive, always remember our Creator, and in that way, we become grateful. We acknowledge Him with everything, with all the blessings, all the experience that we experience every single day. It's because of Him. So acknowledging that is very important for us Christians. Yun. So basahin din natin yung comments dito sa comment section. Syempre, sabi ni Kuya Arnel, early insights, the author emphasized that everything in the world and the things here that are valued by man have no value after he investigates or realizes. There is only something important that should be seen as the most ultimate important of all things in the world. So, medyo nahilo ako doon. The author emphasized that everything in the world and the things here that are valued by man have no value after he investigates or realizes. So parang, yun nga, sabi nga Solomon, everything is meaningless. So for now, sometimes we value money. We value, wag naman family. Masyadong harsh yun. We value the things that we have achieved here sa trabaho natin or in life. No? Maybe we're athletes. We value every medal, every certificate. But then, at the end of the day, it means nothing. You know what I mean? There's only something important that should be seen as the most ultimate important of all things in the world, which is what comes after. What comes after this life? Then yung tanong na, what then? How will that impact our afterlife? Diba? Do we end with God or no? Because that's the most important thing. Dagdag pa ni Kuya Arnel, it is very important and valued, most important things while you're young nor youth in this world full of deception. Is true. So this world is true. Truly full of deception, and it's not all bad, like as emphasized then in the previous chapters. But then there's deception din talaga eh. So, we are more susceptible to falling, failing, making mistakes. So, we really have to keep our eyes on the prize, which is, diba, remind ourselves of the Creator every single day. So, Kuya Jesse naman, it is difficult to enjoy God's blessings when you're old and do not have the energy compared to being young and full of vigor. There we go. It's true because you're just, tired. Ano yung meme na yun na when we're old, we have all the money, but we don't have the energy. I know that's working. When we're old, we don't have money and we don't have energy. Is that it? Parang ganun, di ba? Because we're just so tired and we're just done with life. Parang ganun. I've experienced all things. So, it is difficult indeed, but still, that shouldn't be an excuse for us to stop being grateful. All the more that we should be more grateful because we got to that age. We're old, but we are still experiencing God's blessing. So, thank you for this comment, Kuya Jesse and si Kuya Jerry. Sa verse 1, additional insight, happiness is not based on how well you live or how much you have. It is based on how well you obey and how much of God's will is being achieved in your lives. You cannot always have the home, education, partner, and situation you desire in your life today. However, you can have God in your life today, and it is this ingredient that generates happiness in life. God's love and will are the only things you can legitimately desire more and more of without harming yourself. Yun ba? Teka. Harming your... punta natin sa Facebook. Harming yourself, which is true. It's the quality of life in terms of your relationship with God. So you can have everything but still fail because wala ka relationship with God, di ba? And yung mga kontentong tao nga sa buhay, na nabasa natin sa Bible, are those hindi naman sila naging sobrang yaman din. It's just because they know they are with Christ and Christ is with them. They're happy. They're always rejoicing, isn't it? Again, highlight ko ulit yung buhay ni Paul. Kung ano yung mga circumstance niya, hindi naman ganun kabonggang-bongga, di ba? But he was urging everyone to be joyful and be hopeful and to be grateful because he understands the whole point of things. Jesus being with us. Ayun. So that's the whole point. Thank you for that, Kuya Jerry. And then si Ate Kasir, I think it's also because the youth is the usual. Ito pala. I also think because the youth is the usual time of highs and self-discoveries. Let's never forget to do all of this with Him. Indeed, dito tayo curious. Di ba? Ano yun? Gusto kong try yun. Aminin natin, di ba? Yung mga, lalo ngayon, with social media, we see new places. Like, we could travel there. Wow, let's go there. You know what I mean? So, this is where we are more curious. We want to discover things. We want to experience things. And that is such a huge trap. Possible trap. That could cause us to sin, could indulge us with fleshly desires. So we have to be careful. And thank you for that, Kasmir. Sabi din ni Kuya Jesse, pasok din ata dito yung nasa huli ang pagsisisi, di ba? Kaya habang bata pa, galaw-galaw para sa Diyos mismo. It is true. So, habang bata pa, di ba? Serve your family, serve your friends, be wherever you are. Di ba? So, hit all, ano yung sinasabi natin, Kuya Jess? Hit all the targets, parang ganun. Because, dadating yung oras na isa na lang ang kaya mong gawin sa buhay mo, sa araw mo, which is like, pag may asawa ka na, yung pamilya mo na, mga ganun, or, diba, trabaho mo na lang. But now that we still have this energy, diba, serve your family. After serving your family, serve your friends, then the church, then everything. So, while we can. Thank you for this, Kuya Jesse. And, my question, si Kuya Arnev. Since it is said that everything has no meaning, so the question is, how should we appreciate each thing in the world without it being as much as it should be? Teka. Sige, open ko muna yung question sa inyong lahat, mga ka-awesome, and si Ate Leia. But I do have an answer for this as well. Ayun, strike everywhere. Ayun. Thank you for this, Kuya Jessie. Ay, akin pala yun. Ayan. So, Ate Lea, may question si Kuya Arnel. What do you think of the question?
Ano yung question ulit? So, since it is said that everything has no meaning, so the question is, how should we appreciate, hindi ko mabasa, each thing in the world without it being as much as it should be? I'll answer that later. Ayan. Sipin ko muna.
Oh,
Ayan.
sige.
So, mag-ano
Sige.
muna ako. Second insight. Ayan.
Sige.
Ayan. So,
Go ahead, Ate.
yeah, balikan ko yan mamaya. Sorry, nawala yata ako. Ayun. Okay na ba? Parang nawala yata ako ng saglit.
Okay naman.
Okay. Ayan. So, for my next second insight in verse 2 to 5, ayan, Solomon described the day of age. No? He poetically describes the time when people are in the stage of reminiscing the days of their youth, no, and all the things that they did. Ayan, this is the stage when all the regrets and appreciation arises. Ayan. And when that time comes, the only thing that gives us comfort is the thought that we did good during the time of our youth. And on the other hand, the burden of regrets will be our great discomfort. No, if we know that all we gave value during our younger days are the things that were of fleshly desires. So the body will no longer be strong and active. The body will not be always fit, no, even if we strictly watch and take good care of our health, even if we exercise regularly to stay fit, no. Advancing of age is another thing that we can't avoid. Ayan, and that's the stage when we are somewhat connected or directed to the next life, no, that the eternal life. So sabi nga sa verse 5, for man goes to his eternal home. So so now for us Christians, this is the sweetest thing actually, that we go home to our Father, no, to our Creator. But before then, we have to prepare ourselves, do the things that are worthy, no, the things that will bring us home to God. Ayan. So in verse 6 to 7, Solomon plead once again, no, for us to remember our Creator before the next life comes, no, before we die, you know, in short. So before the life under the sun face its ending. So even if we are old, sabi nga kanina ni Kuya O'Neill na it does not stop in the days of our youth, no. So even in the days of our, like, even if in old days or older days, we have to still remember our Creator. Ayan. So we can see in verse 7 that death will bring us back to where we came from. Ayan. So our mortal bodies will return to dust. Ayan. And our spirit to God. Ayan. So once again, before our life is over, and until that comes, we have to remember our God. No, we have to remember our Creator. So that's all the days of our life, not just in the days of our youth. Ayan. So hanggang verse 7 muna ako. Ayan. So thank you.
Thank you din, Ate Leia. So, yun din, na-cover din siya. Kanina, it's about youth. Dito naman, before you die, di ba? Kasi remember him before the silver cord is severed, the golden bowl is broken. So, all of this mean pretty much like how unpredictable life can be, di ba? It can just, like that, you're dead. So, what he's trying now, the Solomon, the author, is now just trying to say, always acknowledge God in everything. Remember him all the time. Because we don't know when we're going to go. And he also emphasized already that we're all gonna go in the same place. We're all gonna die. We will die. We will, ayun, sa verse 7 pa lang dito. And the dust returns to the ground it came from. That's who we are. From dust, diba? From dust to dust. And we don't know when. It's only God who knows. So, to be safe and to be secure and to always be in the right path, the path that is straight, always remember and acknowledge God. And that is actually the answer then from the question of Kuya Arnel. So everything is meaningless. Solomon emphasized on this because you don't bring it into the next life. So whatever we achieve here, we become like professors, we become world leaders, president, but that title ends here. When you die, for example, I became like president. Kunyari lang, no? I have that title to my name. So even if I'm not president anymore, people still call me Mr. President. That's just my title here on earth. But when I die, I'm just O'Neill. I don't bring President O'Neill. I'm dead. So whatever we achieve here on earth, it stays on earth. So it's meaningless to Solomon. No matter how hard you work for it, you're going to leave it eventually here on earth. Kahit gaano karaming limpak-limpak na pera yan, ang dami mong bahay. So, he had all of this, even wisdom. He spoke of it with wisdom. No matter how wise you could be, knowledgeable of things, intellectual you are, when you die, you all leave it here. And your memory is forgotten. He even emphasized on that. So, everything becomes meaningful. Eto na rin, sagot na rin ni Kuya Jesse, with acknowledging God with everything. So, the things that we achieve, right? These are pleasures that are, hindi lahat ng pleasure, mali. So, meron kasi talagang parang negative connotation about pleasure. Di ba? Hindi naman lahat ng pleasure mali. So, we can enjoy the good pleasures in life and acknowledge them all the time that it comes from God. When we celebrate, when we had a good harvest, mga ganyan, diba? Birthdays, we celebrate birthdays, another year, mga ganyan. Diba? These are good celebrations, and we always acknowledge them, that it comes from God, and that gives meaning to life, because everything we experience, it comes from God, and God then is the source of the meaning of our lives. So when people ask, anong meaning ng buhay? What is this? What's the meaning of life? It's God, right? It's in God. So we can only truly find our purpose, our meaning in Him. And ayun, everything is meaningless when God is not involved. Thus, to make things meaningful and appreciated, include God in plans, goals, dreams, conversations, relationships. Lahat yan. It would give a better perspective in approaching things in life. And do not vote me for president. I don't want this position. Yun. So thank you for this, Kuya Jesse. And yun, hope na answer yung question mo, Kuya Arnel. And thank you for your question as well. Kung may question ka pa dyan, and kayo din mga ka-awesome, type nyo lang, sasagutin ni Kuya Jesse. Joke, sasagutin namin yan. So question lang. Okay yan. That is super welcomed here. Yan. So wala na rin ako may dagdag dun sa na-share ni Ate Leia kanina about verse 6-7. It really is about papunta na sa end, sa death. So always remember Him. Always remember our Creator. Tuwagin ko na ulit siya for her additional insights. Go ahead, Ate Leia.
Ayan, so yeah, it's true. Agree ako dun sa we can't really appreciate things in this world without God in the midst of those things, it's like if we say we appreciate those things without God, it's like worldly appreciation. It's not true appreciation, because God is the giver of everything, and we can't appreciate everything if we do not acknowledge them as given by God, So yeah, we can only appreciate things if God is in there. If we acknowledge God that He is the giver of everything that we have. Ayan. So for my siguro last insight ko na to, pag-anuin ko na hanggang the last verse na lang. Ayan. So from verses 8 to 12. Ayan, muna, ayan. So, through these verses, Solomon is going to the closing of his sermon. Ayan, so, with his penitent heart, and as a teacher, he is teaching us the great lessons that he learned from his whole life, from being a man of pleasure to a man of wisdom. With sincerity, he is reiterating the vanity of life, without God, and how everything is meaningless without God. And all of what's written, all of the words he used were plain truth. In verse 11, the things that help to us, as they all came from God. So it's all for our advantage. So we must as well give value to all of it. These are what will guide us to the true meaningful life, and these are what will help us get through all of the vanities of life. So that's why we have the Bible. It might be written by different people, in different times, but it surely has one author, and that is God. So we have to keep and carefully observe it. Ayan. So in verse 13, ito na yung conclusion, ito na yung summary of everything, the whole duty of man. So if all of life under the sun is meaningless, then what's the point of man living under the sun? From the first chapter, Solomon pointed out, and he made it clear na this life on earth is vanity. And so there is this one and only thing that will give meaning to everything. And that is the whole duty of man. And yan nga yung sa verse 13, fear God and keep His commandment. For this is man's all. Ayan, sabi doon. So this is our all, our everything. Our life and comfort is bound to this. Now, the root of our relationship with our Creator is our obedience to His words. So our fear of Him must be taught by His commandments that we must be carefully obeying. Ayan. So this is the vast duty of man, because if we do not observe this duty, there is also a vast consequence, and that's in verse 14. Ayan. So sabi doon, for God will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil. So dalawang bagay lang. Either we have to strictly put into consideration if the things that we are prioritizing or the things that we value are the things that will bring us closer to God. We have to see to it that the things we are doing are those that are aligned with our duty as Christians. So so sabi nga doon, it's either we are to be judged good or it's either we are to be judged bad. Ayan. So dalawa lang yung judgment, it's either good or bad. So we have to see to it if we are doing the things that are in line with our duty, and that's to fear God and keep His commandments. Ayan. So so yeah, that's my last insight for today's episode. Ayan. So thank you for
Thank you din, Ate Leia. And ayun na nga, yung conclusion of the matter, wala na rin ako may dagdag. Na-explain na rin ni Ate Leia, and it's very straightforward, And everything that Solomon has emphasized, the realities in life, and then he emphasized on everything being meaningless, ganyan. But also emphasized that everything, we can enjoy life still. Pero ito yung pinaka importante. It is, fear God and keep His commandments. Diba? So, wala na akong dagdag talaga. That's it. That's the whole it. So, mga ka-awesome, we are now headed to our responses, our takeaways. So, looking forward to your realizations from our reading tonight. Comment them down. And siguro kung may questions pa kayo, comment nyo pa rin sila. We still have time. We may still be able to answer them. Yun. So, with... wala pala na comment. Sa reflections, sa Ate Lea, ikaw ulit. Ano naman ang responses mo for tonight?
Ayan, so first of all, ayan, I would like to thank you for having me tonight as your co-host. Ayan, so thank you for all the listeners and for all the yung mga makikinig pa, no? So ayan, so my first takeaway, we have to enjoy life, no? But enjoy life in God while we are young. So we will not, so that when we are old, we will not be bound to regrets. Instead, we will be bound to comfort na knowing that we know, knowing that we did good, we did the right thing, no? As God commanded us to do. Ayan. So second, of all Solomon's life, of all the his searchings of true wisdom, of true meaning of life, no, here on earth, here is now the answer, no. Ito na yung conclusion, ito na yung sagot sa katanungan niya na sinulat niya para sa atin. It's our advantage actually, no, na naisulat ito para sa atin, no. So we have to keep in mind, no, to fear God and keep His commandments. Ayan. So because sometimes kasi because of the uncertainties or because of the requirements of this life, no, sa mundong ito, na sa trabaho, kung sabihin natin, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. Sometimes nakakalimutan natin ito no, to see to it that we obey His commandments in everything that we do. Sometimes kasi nakapokus tayo sa trabaho, sa mga requirements para mamuhay sa mundo ito, no? But yeah, sometimes nakakalimutan natin yung why we are here, why we really are here, no? That's the whole duty, no, na andito sa verse 13. To fear God and keep His commandments, for this is man's all. Ayan, so we have to keep it and carefully observe it. Ayan, so it will always boil down to living for God, living for Christ. Ayan, so that's my takeaways. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you din, Ate Lea, for being with us tonight and for your sharings and reflections. So, ayun na nga, diba? The whole duty of man. That's it. It's very straightforward. And for those, I asked this question, teenage years, what is the meaning of life? Why am I here? Bakit ako pinanganak? What is this life? It's here, diba? It is to live for God, basically. Dito lang mas specific because the author wants to hit everything about obedience, about staying away from sin, but in the bigger picture is living for God, living with Him. Ganun. So, ayun, which is takeaway na rin ni Ate Casmir. Takeaway niya, connecting from the past chapters. Ay, dapat bukas pa to. Connecting from the past chapters in enjoyment, pleasure, death, youth. Let's remain living meaningfully in Him. Life's true purpose is only with Him. Ayun. So, without Him, we are lost. Without God, we are without a purpose. We are just waiting to die, which is a sad life, right? But with God, there's hope for a life after this life. Diba? So it's really with Him. So our purpose is only indeed with Him. Thank you for this, Ate Casmir, and si Kuya Arnel, insights niya for tonight. So, conclusion, what is really important in everything is to serve God, which is our duty as Christians. And every spark of the world or its course is not important before God, and He is of no value. Although we are in the world, yet and unavoidable, the priorities in life may be based on God's will for us. So, ayun. So, what? Everything is to serve God, which is our duty indeed. It is to serve God, not because, and we have also I think Ecclesiastes din yun, na-touch natin yun na we serve God because does He need it? No. Diba? He doesn't need us. He need it. He doesn't need our service. He doesn't need us to serve Him. He is God. He has everything and He is everything. So for us, we do that to keep close to Him. That's the most important thing. That's what He wants, for us to stay close to Him. And that's why we serve Him. And then that is also our duty, to listen to Him, to obey Him, just like any child to a father, right? Heed their warning, heed their wisdom, heed their call, always obey, diba? To a good father. So, the goodest father, He is God, the greatest father of all. So, we should do the same to Him, all the more, because He deserves our honor, our respect, and our worship. Yun. So, I agree with this, Kuya Arnel. That is our duty, serve God. And actually, yung command din niya, it is to serve Him is to serve others. You see how He thinks, diba? He's a selfless God. So, I don't want to emphasize. It's gahaba. Sabi naman kasi here advance, i-comment mo na lang ulit yan bukas. And sinagdag pa niya, Amen, we serve God as a byproduct of our love for Him and our faith. Indeed. So it's a love thing. He loves us. He loved us first. And then we respond in love. And when we love Him, we love others. Yeah, it's amazing how He just laid it out for us. If we just see the bigger picture, it's all about love. Thank you for this, Ate Casmir. Si Arnel, thanks and God bless. Uy, nagpapaalam na siya. Thank you for fruitful learning. Thank you then for reflecting with us, Kuya Arnel. And then that is our episode for tonight, chapter 12. And we have concluded another book. Praise God for that. Dami na nating nabasa sa daily hours, no? So, bukas, as always, we have our, ano ulit tawag doon? Ultimate reflection. The buong reflection natin sa entire book of Ecclesiastes, from chapter 1 to chapter 12, ano yung pinakababaonin nating realization or learning or striking verse or striking principle that we will babaonin natin sa buhay natin araw-araw. So we are going to share on that tomorrow. Dito pa rin, of course, sa Awesome Believers Cross Facebook page, 9 p.m. onwards. So kita-kits. We also have a YouTube channel, by the way. So, ayan. Dito pa rin tayo bukas. And thank you again, Ate Leah, for being with us tonight and your sharings. Makaka-awesome as well. Thank you for ang daming comments tonight. Sana bukas ulit. Kita-kits bukas. And till then, stay awesome. Stay safe. Stay with Jesus. And let's continue to shine the light of Jesus. Kung nasaan man tayo, ano man ginagawa natin. And let's continue to love one another so that people will see that we are Christians. They will know we're Christians by our love. So God bless, mga ka-awesome. Good night. And of course, don't forget to pray.